Hello everybody, this is Ms. Vasky and this is lesson 1.1a. This is the start of your probability and stats career here. Please take a moment and in your blue packet on the front page, write down our lesson goal and fill in the blanks with sample space and grid or table. All right, so goal today is how do we create sample spaces by lists and grids. Let's say that we have 3 students, A, B, and C. Okay, and I want to make a list of all the different orders of the row that I can have. So we need to list all the possible ways I can put A, B, and C together. Well, I could go A, B, C. I can have A in the first position, C, and then B. So now I have 2 items in my sample space. I could go B, C, A, or B, A, C. Now I have 4 items of results in my sample space. Or C can be at the beginning. A, B, C, student B, student A. Now, looking at this, is this all the possible ways that I can organize these students? A, B, C, A, C, B, A, C, A, B, A, C, etc., etc., etc. And I believe it is. So, how many ways can we do that? We got ABC, we got ACB, we got BCA, we got BAC, we got CAB, and we've got CBA. So 6 ways to put those 3 different students in different orders. So that is one way that we can find what's called a sample space. Some important definitions for you. Event. What is an event? It's a set of outcomes of an experiment. So our previous experiment was how many different ways can we put those 3 students in order? Okay, this is definitely a probability, a chance of something happening. Probability. One of the words that I like to use when I talk about events, helps me remember it in kind of just regular English. What is actually happening? That's the question I'm answering when I talk about events. All right, another vocab, outcome. What is the possible result of your experiment? Okay, so for example, one of our results was student A, then B, then C. Another outcome or result was C, then B, then A. Keep in mind, there's only one outcome. Per experiment. Okay, so experiments have to be done over and over and over in order to get a list of outcomes. All right, sample space, kind of the big kahuna here. It is a set or list of all possible outcomes, every single combination of how it can happen. In other words, all possible results of an experiment. All right. So 3 major vocab words to know for this section. Let's move on. Let's say you have a die and you're going to roll it. What is the sample space for the roll of a die? When you do sample spaces, you'll want to put these brackets around the results as you list them? Well, you can roll your die and get a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, or a 6. So the numbers 1 through 6, that is your sample space for the roll of a die. Moving on, example 2. Suppose you are actually going to roll 2 die. Okay, so we're rolling 2 of these babies. Here's a 6x6 grid. So this is kind of like the table idea. Instead of a list, we're going to make a table. What are we trying to do in this table? We're trying to find the sum. Sum means to add of the 2 dice. So let's say the first die is across the top. Results can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 when you roll that die. Let's say the second die is along the side. Results again are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right. So I'm looking for the sum. So if I roll a 1 and a 1, doesn't that give me a 2 when I add them up? A 1 and a 2 gives me a 3. A 1 and a 3 gives me a 4, etc., etc., etc. So there's the results of 1 on the first die rolled with any of the faces that you can get on the second die. And nicely enough, the pattern is repeated going up and down. All right, I'm going to pause for just a moment, and if you would please do me the honor of filling in this grid, that'd be great. So you should have your grid filled in with the sums of the roll of these 2 dice, and that is what it should look like. Keep in mind, when you are doing a grid or a table or a list, you need to know what your event is. What's happening? What are you looking at? And our event is rolling 2 dice and finding the sum. And that's what we have in blue in the grid. All right, next question, part B. What is the sample space for the different sums? Now be careful. We're looking for the sample space. Remember, sample space is a list of all the possible outcomes. If I look in my table, it looks like there's a 2 as my lowest sum. There's 2 3s. There's a bunch of 4s, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I'm going to keep going until I get to my highest sum in this table, which is 12. All right, so if you look here, we've got 36 possible combinations, right? But based on the grid, I am not going to count the repeats. I'm only going to tell what type of results I can get for my sample space. And it looks to me like there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's only 11 in the list. Okay, 11 possible sums that you can get from rolling 2 die. So make sure when you write sample spaces, you do not include repeats. Just list a result once. All right, based on your grid, which outcome occurs most often? Well, if I look at my table, looks to me like 7s are pretty numerous. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's 6 7s. So 7 occurs 6 times. And we are done with that. So, moving on. Example 3. All right. You order breakfast at a restaurant. The restaurant has 2 choices of drinks, milk and orange juice. All right, so let's just make a little key here so I know what I'm talking about. Let M be milk, and let's let orange juice be O. All right, so there's one choice, milk or orange juice. They also have some meats that you can choose from. So let's see, we've got sausage, we've got ham, and we've got bacon. Ooh, that's my favorite. So we'll let those be represented by S, H, and B. All right, I'm going to pause for a moment. Can you please give me a sample space, so a list of outcomes that show all the different ways you can order your beverage and your meat for breakfast. So I've made my list of beverages to order for breakfast and meat that I can get with it. And it looks to me like there is 6 options. Now keep in mind, I've kind of made a list here. When we give a sample space, again, remember we want the gridded brackets, and then we're going to make them as a list. milk and bacon, OJ and sausage, OJ and ham, OJ and bacon. So that's how we want to list it. And how many different possible outcomes do we have? We had 6 options. All right, example 4. Using a list of rows from the beginning of class. So I believe we had students A, B, and C, correct? Okay. We got to answer the following. Give the sample space of the different orders of the rows that we can make. So remember, we had an A, B, and C. I'm just going to do these all in black. So we could have A, B, C. We could have A, C, B. We could have B, C, A, or B, A, C. And we could have C in the first position and go A, B for cab, or C, B, A. Okay, and I believe that is all the different orders that we can have. And how many different outcomes does that give us? 6. All right, so remember again, our learning target today was creating a sample space for the given event using a list or by creating a grid or table. Keep in mind, we can do this with numerous things. We can do it with rolling dice. We can do it with choosing colors. We can do it with choosing menu items from the restaurant. We can do it with flipping a coin. Just a little hint for the homework. Remember, when you flip a coin, there are 2 options, heads and tails. So I know in the homework you have some questions that ask you to list all the different ways to do heads and tails. Please use H and T to write that out. All right, thanks for listening. We'll see you later.